Hello and welcome. You're watching the Overdrive Show, which this week travels to the home of Rolls-Royce, Goodwood, England. Now, Sir Henry Royce once famously said that you take the best there is and then you make it better. Well, it doesn't get any better than this. What I have with me today on this spectacular English hot summer day is the most potent, the most powerful, the most technologically advanced Rolls-Royce ever built. Say hello to the Wraith. What can I describe it for you? Well, words certainly won't do justice to it. What it really needs is some poetry. Give a horse wings and grow it a horn, and lo, mythology had its unicorn. Crafting in the present, but borrowing from yesterday straight, Rolls-Royce brought back the venerated Wraith. He holds the old, also springs new spice, laughs lightly at expectations, challenges prejudice. The self-righteous wheel centers conscientiously, the rear overhangs proportionately. Coach doors hinged by their hinds, wheels to roof height, a signature sign. All of these celebrations from yesterday, but what of the present, you may say? Well, the dynamism created by the fastback line, twin exhausts, the power sign, even the spirit of ecstasy keenly angled forth, everything gained, nothing sought. Behold Lady Thornton, cast a glance aside, for this is the chariot you will wear with pride. But I'm no poet, but that's what this car brings about in everyone. But enough standing back and admiring it. It's time to get in and hit the beautiful English countryside. Right, let's give it a go, shall we? Right, the Wraith isn't an ordinary Rolls-Royce. Now, the Phantom is, of course, the flagship limousine for Rolls-Royce. It is the heart and soul for Rolls-Royce. Then came along the Ghost, which was well to appeal to a much larger audience. The Wraith is the latest feather in their cap. It's a car for those who refuse to be driven about, regardless of their social and professional status. The Wraith is the driver's Rolls-Royce. Never before has Rolls-Royce bothered with power and torque figures. There was always enough, and that's all you needed to know, while the Wraith is different. Rolls-Royce will have you know that the 6.6-litre V12 can produce about 624 brake horsepower and about 800 Nm of max torque. And guess what? They've also released a claimed figure for a 0 to 100 km an hour dash, which is about 4.5 seconds. That's about the same as a BMW i8. And it reaches high speeds with such refinement and so effortlessly that you have to be extra vigilant to ensure that you're within the speed limits. Thank the engineers for the heads-up display then, because in places like the UK, where the speed limits are like a strict headmaster's decree, a little gimmick can actually save you hundreds of pounds in fines. Now, every Rolls-Royce has technology that absolutely blows you away. You have adaptive suspension that gives you the magic carpet ride quality. You have the amazing Starlight headliner. Now, all of these are things of the past. But what the Wraith gets that's brand new is the adaptive transmission, which, wait a sec, gets data from the GPS and then selects the gear that you're in. So you'll have an open stretch of road ahead of you, and it chooses the higher gears, so it gives you the maximum efficiency. But you're approaching a corner or maybe in traffic, and it uses the lower gears to give you the maximum possible torque, so that you're in the right rev band. Now, this is non-intrusive artificial intelligence at its very best, and it is a whole lot more intelligent than you are. Now, you can't really call the Wraith a sports car, but everything on the Wraith is sportier than cars like the Phantom or the Ghost. So you have a much more immediate throttle response, you have a stiffer suspension, It's also a shorter wheelbase, which means the ride quality is a little bit on the stiffer side, but that's also because they've had to modify the suspension to make the handling a little bit more sportier. So you can chuck this 2.5-ton car into the corners and it comes out like a champion. And if you thought that Rolls-Royce can't do superb handling cars that can, well, handle the twisties and even the racetrack for that matter, oh boy, you'd be wrong.
The Wraith is the best handling Rolls ever. The air suspension is so intuitive that it takes into account every changing parameter, even the position of the passengers, and ensures comfort at every speed. But does comfort mean no feedback? Well, not really. But don't take my word for it. A day before I drove the Wraith, it managed to outpace the Maserati Gran Turismo MC Stradale and a Bentley Continental GT in the 1.16 mile Goodwood hill climb, whilst also shattering Rolls-Royce's own record by quite a bit.
And the extra 60 odd PS of power is actually quite perceivable. So all you need to do is just, well, floor the throttle and it wakes up. Oh boy, and it wakes up with a growl. Wow, this is a Rolls-Royce that growls. Incredible.
The Wraith marks an evolution at Rolls-Royce. Never thought you'd see a fastback Rolls-Royce, did you? Never thought you'd yearn to drive one rather than sit back in chauffeured comfort. But it all comes together from the moment you set your eyes on it to the moment you get in. The emotion it evokes is altogether different from the one you get in the Phantom or the Ghost. The interiors are handcrafted by artisans rather than technicians, and with the choicest of materials, the best wood, veneer, leather and other aristocratic textures. The layout, well, is quite similar to the one that you've seen on the Ghost, albeit even more driver-centric. The rear seats, well, won't give the passengers too much to complain about.
But you know, the Wraith isn't really for the rear seats, and that's, well, quite evident because when you sit in the back, you don't really have the sort of comfort that you have in a Phantom Coupe, the Drophead Coupe, because this is a shorter car in terms of wheelbase, so you have that much lesser space at the back. And, well, this is a car for the driver. At the end of the day, I don't see anyone buying it to be in the back seat.
The Wraith is a car that exudes the sense of poise and elegance that you'd associate with a Rolls-Royce. But it's also got this fervour, this intrepid audacity to challenge convention. There's drama galore, but now there's power and athleticism to go with it. The event of arriving in a Rolls-Royce hasn't really changed, but with the Wraith, you know that you'll be turning more heads.